it was just a scrimmage game on Tuesday, we didn't have anybody cramp up, and that's kind of a testament to my kids on how much they worked this summer and showed up and just put the time in for their bodies to be able to go out and compete at a very high level.
Yeah, Coach, I know this time of year, normally the first few weeks of the season, you really tell who's in shape and who's not. I know all players are going to have cramps, but first couple weeks you can really tell who really worked in the off season and who just want to say kind of got by.
That's right, and again, we preach to our kids not only about our summer, how important it is ultimately, that's where you win. You win in the summer. Friday night is just the result of kind of the work that you put in the off season. But going along with showing up to workouts, we really preach taking care of our bodies. Putting good things in our bodies and keeping things that do us harm, keeping those things out of our body. And again, I think our kids have done a wonderful job of kind of responding to that. And it shows when you don't have people cramping up in the first couple ball games. And again, granted, it wasn't a full game. We had a lot of breaks mixed in, but just very proud of our kids and how they've handled this whole deal and just the commitment they've made to each other and to this school and this community.
Yes, sir. So I know I talked to you a few weeks ago about loss of some players from last year. Players you expect to come back and you expect in the off season to kind of plan your season, and you don't have them. It kind of changes plans.
It does, I know going into that scrimmage game Tuesday, we had 6 guys that I was planning on being starters for me.
There.
Not they weren't even dressed out, so that does make it kind of throws a wrinkle in your plans when you're planning to have guys and they're not there, but.
Especially being starters.
True, that's true, but like in all sports, we have the next man up mentality, and that's right. It's next man up because you never know.
You almost have to in football.
That's right.
Any play, anyone could get hurt.
That's right. That's right.
And I know when y'all practice, everybody practices, not just your starters. We got everybody.
That's right. We, for one, that nobody want to just go out to practice and stand there on the sideline and not do anything. 2, it's our job as coaches to develop these kids. And just because a kid may not be good as a 9th grader or 10th grader doesn't mean that he's not going to hit a growth spurt and end up being a contributor for you on Friday nights. And I tell a story all the time. My first year coaching, I was trying to make a kid a manager. Told my dad that he couldn't help us, and he was kind of too slow to play receiver, and he was too small to be a lineman or play anywhere else. And my dad told me, just give it time. You don't know how these kids are going to grow. Well, this kid really worked and put in the off season, and he started for me as a junior and a senior at receiver, and is one of the better receivers I've ever coached in football. So that kind of taught me a lesson quick. In my coaching career, that man, you don't know year to year about these kids and how they're going to grow, and so you've got to invest in all of them, because ultimately we're trying to get them ready, for Friday nights, but also to be better men. And I want everybody to be a part of that, not just a kid who may have a chance to go play some college ball or your best athlete. It needs to be everybody.
Coach, and I've noticed since you've been here, like everyone on the sideline, even if they're not playing, they have the mentality of, coach might put me in. I know you treat them all the same. Doesn't matter who their parents are, if you're better or not. If you work hard work pays off.
That's right, and that's how it should be. That's the only way I've ever seen it done. In all the coaches that I've been under throughout college, and my dad was probably the best example. He played the best guys, the best 11 to help our team, and sometimes one of those best 11 may not necessarily be the best player. But when you got the
10
better
others.
player not showing up and, not committed to the team, that affects your team.
It does, and I think that's where the younger generation, I think some people get frustrated, Coach, when I'm not starting this, this set of series. Well, someone's not doing their job. You might be in the next series.
That's right. And again, I tell our kids a lot, hey, we've got the next man up mentality, because you never know. And we ask our kids to conduct themselves, in a way that represents this school, our football team, our football family, our community. And kids are kids, and they're gonna make mistakes, and I'm gonna make mistakes. And we as adults, we kind of have the luxury to blow up at times, and not really get held accountable. But when those kids blow up, we hold them accountable, and so it's a very fine line at trying to teach them how to do things the right way, how to handle situations properly, and make sure that we're all held accountable for our actions. And so even though we want to carry ourselves with pride and represent that name across our jersey to the best of our ability.
Yeah, Coach, that bell kind of sounds rough over there.
Yeah, it's time to change classes, I guess.
It is. So how does the team look overall? Is what you were looking at 3 or 4 weeks ago, how does the team look overall right now going forward?
I'm excited about where we are. I think that we've got kids that have bought into what we're trying to do as a coaching staff. We're trying to create a culture in football that's different from the one that I guess that used to be here. And in that comes with a lot of different aspects. But I'm very excited for these kids. I know last year we were very, very young, and I think we had 5 seniors, and the rest were juniors and sophomores. And the majority of our team were sophomores. And on top of that,
helps coming back from experience.
Mm-hmm, it does. And on top of that, with only having 5 seniors, we only had 5 returning players who even played in a varsity game the year before. So
wow.
That makes a difference when you've got 5 kids who've been thrown in the fire, as opposed to
gear up, let's go.
A whole team coming back.
Right.
So again, I'm just excited to see these guys play. We did some good things last Tuesday and did some things that weren't so good, and I asked my coaches in the locker room after. I said, are these things that we can fix? And they were like, absolutely. And I said, well, man, get your head up, because that's what we do. Let's coach them up and get these things fixed and keep moving forward.
All right, Coach. So, kind of aside from Manila football, which it all hits home, let's talk about the tragedy at Piggott here a few weeks ago. I know it's right down the road. It's a bad situation. It could have been someone here. And I know a lot of people say, well, it was an accident, and it might have been an accident. It's just a bad situation that could happen anywhere.
That's right, and my heart goes out to that player's family, his friends, the school, the coaching staff. It's very, very unfortunate and sad that, incidences like that, while tragic, they happen. And man, it just kind of makes you realize that, for one, you're not granted tomorrow,
No.
And you never know what's going to happen. So, try to live each day like it is going to be your last, and try to. I know me personally, man. I try to honor God in everything that I do, and try to be an example to the people I'm around. Not only the kids that I have influence over, but adults. And again, just a very, very tragic situation. And man,
I know
that
the
family's
players look
definitely in my
up to
prayers.
you, on how you live your life. They look at you as like a role model. So I know you try to set a good example for your kids, because when you get out of high school, adulthood starts. You become an adult. Either you go to college or you go to work.
That's right.
And it's the same thing. Like the Midcalf boy. He was a very Christian boy. And most people think something like that can't happen close to home. You see it all the time on social media or on the news. Happens in another state, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away, and this was a few towns over. So I mean, it's a bad situation, and we're all here to pray for the same person, and we're all support that community. I know the family greatly appreciates it. But to the next thing, the Valley View game. We hear some rumors about the game will not be happening next week. Week 0, I think, is actually what it technically is. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah, that was a game that we set up last school year, and Valley View, they're a big school, and they dress a lot of kids. Very, very good, and I was really excited in having the opportunity to get to play them. Unfortunately, our circumstances have changed, since we scheduled that game. Like I said, I was expecting to have 23 kids coming back this season who at one point or another last year started for me. And you don't hear about that. Like, that don't even happen in 7A football, to have 23 returners who started at one point or another for you throughout the season. And, with COVID going on and all of this stuff, things have just been, crazy. But we lost a lot of kids that we were counting on. And so it just didn't make sense to play Valley View when we don't have our gun fully loaded.
So how many players do you have right now, I guess, to be on varsity football?
Right now we've got 24 kids.
So there's going to be a lot of both-way playing.
Yes. Everybody on the roster
better be prepared
is
to play
is a starter for me somewhere. Whether that's on special teams or offense or defense, and both. I mean, everybody's playing. You just can't. The days of playing Ironman football and really being successful, you can't do it in today's game. It's too fast. Even teams that go, that huddle up, man, it seems that offenses are about how many snaps can we get, and that makes it tough on kids.
And you see more in the next level than you do in colleges or than high school. You got so many no huddles that. I mean, the kid's got to get a breather somewhere, but you're no huddle and you ain't got. I mean, it's tough.
That's right, it is, and I know that one of our game plans going into this season, because we were going to have 23 returners who started for us, was, man, we were going to play really, really, really fast. And now instead of trying to get as many snaps as we can and trying to get that ball snapped with 18, 20 seconds left on the clock, we're really going to try to take our time in the huddle, and because, again, those guys that are on offense, they're going to have to turn right around and play a special team, and then turn right around and play defense, and vice versa. And
a few seconds of breather adds up when you do it.
That's right. And we're going to have to sub out more kids than, we were planning on. But, you take an upperclassman that's dog tired, or, you put in a sophomore that's got all his energy and, may not be ready yet. I'm going to take my chances with that sophomore that's got a lot of energy for a few plays and hope the other team don't find them.
I understand. So let's talk about the next game then. Since Valley View's canceled, our next game will be,
EPC here.
and if I'm understanding, that would be senior night, the first game of.
I think so. Even though that's not, set in stone, I know a lot of teams are kind of going to first game senior night just because there may not be the rest of the season.
Understand.
So we definitely want to take time and honor those kids that have, put all those years of work in for the school and be able to do that. And if we're gonna have a first game and we know that we're gonna be able to get those guys honored like they should be, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, Coach. I know we've kind of battled with EPC in the past few years. It's been really good ball games. Either we win by a little or we lose at the end. I would expect a pretty good ball game. I haven't really got to look at EPC yet this year. It's really hard to tell how anybody's going to be with everything going on because you don't really know. You just been able to practice here the past few weeks. So other than endurance and working on conditioning in the summer, there's not been just a whole lot of practice.
Well, that's right, and in the summer, a lot of 7-on-7 camps happen, team camps happen, and so you kind of get to evaluate or at least get some hearsay from other coaches on how they're looking and who is impressive, and you don't have that this year because nobody played 7-on-7, nobody had team camps, so you look at guys coming back from last year. Well, a year's a long time. Kids grow and develop, and so you just go in trying to be good at what you do, be very, very sound at what you do and what you're trying to accomplish. And, once teams start getting a couple games under their belts, then, we'll get video and be able to do a lot better job as far as, scheming against other teams. But, coming into EPC, you're going in blind. So you better be good at what you do and be very sound at your scheme offensively, defensively, and special teams because, it's hard to scheme up a team that you haven't seen.
Yeah, and that you talk about going in the blind. There's the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. There's going to be a lot of blind going in until you've talked to a team that's played the other team. That's going to be the only thing you really know about a team right now because you see some of these schools. I'm sure we're not the only school around that has lost some players from this pandemic. You got kids that have health conditions that can't be around it. They live with parents or grandparents. And I know the other night down here at the game, we had on the scrimmage game, 6 feet apart, you have to wear a mask. And some people are totally against that. But right now we're trying to do everything we can to keep everyone healthy so we can still have football.
That's right. And everybody's kind of got to do their part. And, we're going to try to control what we can control. I can't control the pandemic. I can't control, anything outside that football field. But I can control that football field. And so as long as that's the case, then, we're going to do our part. And, like I said, it's just unfortunate the situation that we're in right now, but you adapt and you overcome and you move on the best way possible.
All right, let's talk about the quarterback position. I know last year we kind of had a quarterback starting. I believe he is a senior this year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you have the Miller boy, which would be a sophomore, or is he a junior?
He'll be a junior this year.
I know partway through the season, I kind of flip-flop, and then one go in, one come out, one go in, one come out. How are we standing right now on quarterback? Is it going to be a dual quarterback?
Well,
I know it's probably a hard question without the game being played.
That's right. And ultimately, we're going to go with the guy that gives us the best chance to be successful. And it may not be either of them two. It may be another guy.
Right.
But right now, it's definitely between Brady and I call him twin. He's got a twin brother. But Tanner Miller, and we're still playing paper, rock, scissors to see who takes the first snap in practice. And
they both bring two different total aspects to the game. One's, a big height wise, is a difference, but then you got the speed wise is the other difference. I mean, there's a lot of it depends on what kind of defense they're throwing at us.
Sure.
Versus what y'all are seeing, or everybody makes mistakes, and some people just don't have it some nights.
That's right. And it's been very interesting watching these two compete.
And usually that makes kids better when they compete against each other.
That's right, and it does. And so we've had very, very good competition at practice. As it stands right now, I couldn't tell you who is going to be our starter once district rolls around, which is what we're preparing for.
Right.
I've always looked at it as you got a preseason, you've got your regular season, and then you get into the playoffs. And our goal is to
win.
Get into the playoffs, and preseason has nothing to do with that except, getting better. And then once you hit, conference play, you're trying to get in the playoffs however you can. So everything is geared up to us for conference play.
Right.
So for me to be able to sit here and name a starter right now,
I know.
I wish I could. I wish I could,
flip a coin.
but I can't. And I think one of those guys will eventually step up and take the spot. And and again, it's one of those things where that's sports.
And last year I noticed, when Brady was playing, Tanner supported him. And then when Tanner went in and Brady come out, Brady supported him. They're both very supportive of each other, try to make each other better.
Sure, because, ultimately
we're a team.
We are. This is a team sport. And I try to tell our players all the time, guys, if you're everybody wants to be the man. Everybody wants to play running back. Everybody wants to throw touchdowns. Everybody wants to catch touchdowns.
Wants to be the highlight.
That's right. But it doesn't happen like that all the time. And so, again, when as a coach, I'm going to play the 11 that gives us the best opportunity to be successful, period.
100% agree.
When you do things that way, and when you give kids a chance to compete for spots, then, nobody can really be upset, because ultimately the best guy for the spot is gonna play. The kid that's going to give our team the best chance to win is going to be the one who's out there, and I don't care what position it's at. That's just how it's going to be.
So with our, I think you said 6 players that are starters, who do you expect to stand out and to grow into the football season?
Man,
I know it's a hard decision, but
it is. It's hard to just name one kid because
it's not. It's a team sport, and there could be.
That's right.
There's no pointing fingers at who did wrong.
But you look at all of them, and they were just all young, so young last year. So as a first-year player, you're not even gonna compare, to your performance in your second year, and as you're not gonna, your second year is not gonna be anything like your third year.
So being 5 seniors, are we gonna have?
Well, we've got 6 seniors this year.
6 seniors. So are we still gonna be young? Like we have a lot of 10th graders, or is it more juniors?
Well,
I didn't know about upper class coming up.
It's both. Our junior class is we're counting on those guys, and Matthew Gibson, who really this is going to be his second year to be a starter. Ladd Wimberly, very excited about him, who transferred in last year. So this is just his second year with us, and Ryan Hausman, another kid who, when I was first year here, he was a sophomore and he was an offensive lineman, and I can't remember what game it was. We ended up putting him on defense, and man, he just really shined right there on the defensive line. And all of those guys. Brady Miller, who's quarterback. He was a first-year guy last year. So I know there's a couple of them that I'm not mentioning, but it's just all of them. Just excited to see all of them, and I expect big things out of each one of them equally, because we don't have that guy, that we can just give the ball to and say go win us a game, and very very
you
few
might have
teams.
one step up.
That's right. I hope we have more than one step up that we can go to when it gets down to crunch time. But players like Overton Johnson, who we're not Overton Johnson, Kurt Overton, who we're very, very excited about. Getting the ball in his hands and seeing what he can do. 10th grader Eli Lackey, who started for us last year as a 9th grader. Getting him over on the offensive side of the ball and getting him some touches. Players like Peyton McQueen, who was a D lineman and O lineman for us last year. Now he's our starting linebacker, and he's getting to run the ball some. So,
it's interesting getting to watch the kids grow from year to year. How, in our view from the bleachers, sometimes they say, well, they might grow a little bit or they might not grow a little bit. But when you see them every day practicing in different positions, they're growing.
That's right. And I see it in the weight room.
There's a lot of people don't see
Brandon
stuff
Parrish,
except Fields.
He's lifting so much more than he was when we started, and all of them are. The leadership qualities of Josh Evers. I mean, I could literally go through every kid on that team.
And they got a different role.
And me talk about, what I'm expecting to see out of those guys this year. And I'm very excited about that, to see those guys perform and do the things that we ask them to do. And again, as a player, see them where they were last year and seeing where they are now. And it's going to take all of them for us to have a successful season.
Agree. Let's just talk about a couple more things and we'll close this up. Let's talk about these Sharpo helmets right here. They're a little different than what we've had. Looks like the number on one side and then the M on the other side.
Sure. Well, we were up for some new uniforms this year, and we decided to go with the helmet that would kind of match the uniforms, and there's some silver in our uniforms, and me personally, I mean, I don't really get into the designs and all of that. I was just glad to have a uniform and a helmet. So I kind of leave that to Coach White. He's a little more in tune with fashion than I am. My wife asks me all the time, what do I think about something? And I say, well, do you like it? Then I like it. If you
She's
do,
happy, you're happy.
That's right. That's right. So, give the kids something to be excited about. You get new uniforms and you get new helmets. Hopefully that's something that they can. That's right. Get them excited, but take pride in. Because we want these kids to have nice things and take pride in being a Manila Lion.
Yeah, Coach. This gym floor was about a year ago. Southworth, gave the school some money, and it's really nice. I mean, our school being as small as it is really privileged for the community that supports all the sport activities that we have.
That's right, and it makes a difference to kids, just like it makes a difference to the community. I mean, you walk in this basketball gym and you see this floor, and it's awesome. As a fan of Manila, I take pride in that. Man, look at this floor, and then our kids, how they perform, and how they prepare to perform, definitely shows that they take pride in this new gym floor and
new high school.
That's right, new high school for those
state-of-the-art high school.
That's
on top of that.
So again, I think we're headed in the right direction. you know, but it's always awesome to get kids stuff that they can take pride in and be a part of.
This hat you gave us a while ago, I know you said something about you might try to get an order. I don't know if anybody at home would be interested in getting any hats. We might be able to make that happen.
Yeah, we may be able to
Make an order, or we'll just
make an order, maybe
come up with a price,
maybe
and
sell some at the games.
And just to kind of finish up here, I know y'all had a fundraiser a couple weeks ago for the football team.
We did
at the golf course.
We did. It went good.
It didn't look like it was going to go at first in the morning.
That's right. We didn't have we didn't have as many teams as we wanted, but that was my fault. You know, it was a very poor job on me of planning and promoting, but with the, you know, with this summer and all the restrictions, it was just kind of crazy. And you know, I looked up, and all of a sudden, you know, we're doing 2 practices a day and trying to prepare, and so it, you know, your time kind of gets
away from you.
It does get away from you, and you know, we really couldn't send out kids to get donations, you know, and whole sponsors, but I thought it went very well. The guys that ended up winning the tournament, you know, they donated the money back to the program, and I told them thanks then, and you know, I want to tell them thank you again for that, because you know, all that money is going directly to our kids and get them things, you know, like new helmets and uniforms, and you know, just shirts that they can wear and be proud to wear it.
You know, and I think that's what some people think, you know, that everything's just, you know, the school does this, school does this. You know, I mean, every penny helps. I know a lot of times at the football games there'll be fundraisers for cheerleaders or different things, like for the band, the concession stand. And I know that's how a lot of these programs succeed, to give kids nice stuff.
Yeah, and it is, man. You know, everything. Today it's expensive.
Ain't nothing free.
That's right. Helmets and, you know, all the equipment that we have to have. I mean, that stuff's expensive. And so there are things that every sport, you know, they have to have every year. You know, and by the time you get all that stuff, I mean, it hurts your pocketbook a little bit. And, you know, so that's why we try to even do fundraisers. I'm not one to, you know, ask folks for money. But when it comes to those kids, and
it's all about them.
You know, that's it. It's all about them, and so I know as a coach, you know, we try to bend over backwards for them, and again, to just give them things that they can take pride in, and say that they're a part of.
About to wrap this up, I haven't really got into this earlier. I meant to ask. Let's talk about your coaching staff. I know you said Coach White, Kane White, I believe that's the junior high coach as well.
Well, he does coach junior high.
Okay.
You know, he got hired on last year, and I named him our junior high head coach, and so just to kind of get his feet wet a little bit and running a team, and I had to take that title from him this year. And so I'm now the junior high head coach again, and I only did that because I named him my offensive coordinator.
Hey, yes.
And so I need his focus on Friday nights, and I need his help for Thursday night.
You know, from what I've gathered from him and been around him, he's full of energy, never a dull moment.
That's right.
And I know he tries to help hype the kids up. He's here for the kids. I know he's younger.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think he's about Landon's age over there. And who else is on your coaching staff?
So yeah, Coach White's very, very energetic. Definitely a player's coach, you know, and he comes from a good football lineage also. His brother's a college player. I think he was he's at Harding University right now playing ball, and his dad's a football coach at Truman, and
so he's kind of got sports athletic in his family as well.
It's in his blood, and so very excited to have him on staff. And you know, we added Danny Helms this year. He's kind of our O-line, D-line coach, and you know, just still getting to feel him out as a coach. I know him as a person and as a teacher. You know, but he's doing an outstanding job for us. with our O line and D line, and he works the weight room, and he enjoys being there, and just so excited about what he's bringing to our coaching staff, and then we've also got Alex Richard, who's another young guy. They think he's going to also do some baseball, and he's not per se a football guy, but he works, man. He really, really works, and he wants to learn and do everything it takes to be successful. So, and then we've got a volunteer in David McDonald, who gets to practice when he can, and just glad to have him on board. And so the guys that we've got around us, I'm just very excited about, and glad to have them on board and on my staff.
I got something a while ago. Tiffany Costner said, "Yeah, y'all mentioned the cheerleaders. We're supportive of cheerleaders. I know the players, any support they get helps them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know even the fans come to support, not just players. They support it all.
That's right. I'm a big community guy, So
this is the first year, Coach, that we're going to have video for football.
Very excited about that.
And we don't, as we were talking earlier before we went on the air, we don't make no money out of this. We do it for the players. Mm-hmm. I don't have no family that's playing. I've got a nephew that plays basketball. 2 nephews that play basketball. Other than that, I do it for the kids, do it for the school. I know there's family. Like you said, you got family still probably in Mississippi. They can watch the games on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page. Nowadays, everybody's got smart TVs, so right. I know it'll probably even help you. You can go back and watch film anytime you want to.
That's right.
Just try to get the kids seen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah, I always try to give thanks to the cheerleaders. They they're out there like we are, trying to perform, and they definitely they help us, and kind of get the crowd going at key moments in the games, and also the band. I like I said, I'm a community guy, and I got into high school for the kids, just like I'm sure everybody else that's in high school did. So anytime we can have support and show support for whatever sport it is, whether it's cheer, whether it's band, volleyball or baseball, basketball, we want to show our support, because ultimately we want those guys to support us as well. And what a great town that actually happens in.
It is, and I know that you and the football team are very supportive of what we're doing. I know if anybody'd like to sponsor, we're always accepting sponsors. I know we had Harold's Furniture here recently sponsored. They got a senior cheerleader, but it helps with little things. We was talking earlier about how much equipment is, and it adds up, kind of like equipment for players.
That's right.
There ain't nothing cheap anymore.
That's right.
So, you got any questions for us?
I don't. And I would just like to say that, I hope y'all do well with this. I know that getting our kids seen on TV, live stream or whatever, it's pretty awesome. I know everybody's got family that can't attend everything, and especially with how things are right now, that number is, more than likely going to get cut in half. And so being able to still watch these kids grow and be supportive, even if it is, through the internet, I think it's a great thing. And so I just urge anybody that can help you guys out in sponsorship, to
and it helps spread the word, just to, like I said, just get the kids seeing that family that can't be here, that can watch their family.
That's right.
Because I know when I played, none of this existed, it seemed like.
That's right.
So, Other than that, I appreciate it, Coach, for being here. Thank you for all the sponsors for making this happen. Y'all have a great afternoon, and we'll be back in touch within a couple weeks here at the home football game for EPC.
That's right.
We'll let Landon run the sponsors, but other than that, thank y'all. Have a great night.